last night, and I talked about this yesterday on the Ben Garcia show, but last night I think you saw Kyler Murray defenders win. They ultimately won the argument of if Kyler Murray should be back at all costs next year. And I think it was shown through the performances of Justin Herbert, who's seen as a top 5 guy and talent-wise a top 3 guy. And there's some people that will never quit Justin Herbert because he's big, he's strong, he's mostly mobile, throws an accurate ball. But in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, he's crumbled. 27-7 against the Jacksonville Jaguars a few years ago in the playoffs. And then what happened? He blew it. Then you saw on Saturday, going up against the Houston Texans, a team that had been struggling for most of the year. Blew it. Blew it. And he's got a good coach this time, so we can't blame the coach this time. He's got to find weapons for now. You got to win one playoff game. And Jordan Love. This idea that the Packers don't have any wide receivers or weapons is crazy. Tucker Kraft was great all year. Jaden Reed, at the first half of the season, was playing like a top 10 guy. Romeo Doubs is a good player. Dontavian Wicks is a good player. This idea that there's just not enough talent supporting him is nonsense. But he didn't perform very well. And then you get to what was last. And Sam Darnold, I think it was very obvious that the Vikings were likely going to lose last night. I don't do a lot of the national stuff anymore, but the Rams just better prepared. I understand it was pretty much an away game for them last night. The Vikings fans traveled really well. Where in contrast, the Rams fan base really doesn't necessarily exist. But Sam Darnold last night was just awful. Just awful for the Vikings. Now, he was under duress most of the night as well. That's true. But Sam Darnold, 245 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked 9 times, and a passer rating of 77. And you ask yourself, well, how does this have anything to do with Kyler Murray? Kyler can drive you crazy, but he does keep you relevant. And last night, I think showed, or I guess I should say, on Monday Night Football, it really showed and reared its head why Kyler Murray defenders were always right, including me, that he is, without a doubt, the best option for this Cardinals team next year. There are people out there that want him gone, and not necessarily to say I disagree with you in some of these issues with Kyler, where he's got issues pushing the ball downfield at times. At least we saw that this year. There's a lot of dink and dunk, and in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, he did crumble. But you look at Kyler's competition, and we know we went over this yesterday. He's not a top 6 guy. He can't be that guy. If he were to do that, he would have already done that. Because we saw what Jaden Daniels did. Don't say it's his weapons. Dwami Brown was Jaden Daniels' best receiver on Sunday. And he went into on a road playoff game and beat the Buccaneers, a team that has won the division back-to-back years. Kyler, in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, has crumbled. But this is why the Kyler Murray defenders won last night. This is why everyone that defended Kyler Murray after Monday Night Football proved their point on why they were right about Kyler Murray and why he has to be the starting quarterback next year for this Cardinals team. The argument has always been, okay, that's fine. Who are you going to? And then there was the argument of, oh, Sam Darnold could be on the free agency block. Draft a guy. All that is fine and good, but this draft is not good for quarterbacks. And Sam Darnold, in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, crumbled in back-to-back weeks. So you have the same issues with Kyler Murray that you would with Sam Darnold. And you look around the league, Kyler Murray is not a top 5 guy. But there's a reason why they call it top 5. Because there's only about 5 guys that can do what those elite echelon level of quarterbacks can do. Kyler is not there. But you want to point to Justin Herbert, but just call it what it is. You like him better than Kyler because he's taller. Because outside of that, there is no argument, especially in the playoffs, that he's a better quarterback consistently in big games than Kyler. Jordan Love has one playoff win against the Cowboys. In that Niners game last year, made some big plays, but didn't look amazing against the 49ers. And same thing goes for not just Jordan Love, but Justin Herbert and last night Sam Darnold. So I don't think it's fair at all to go after Kyler and his ability to be a viable starting quarterback in the NFL. You know, this is a really good point, and I want to make a point to continue to read these super chats live on the air. But Ivan Pereira says this: going price for a mid-tier quarterback is about $50 million now. That is true if you're not Baker Mayfield, and it's a good point. It's a good point. Because the point of that is very... That's another point that I want to make with this. Kyler Murray is a $45 million man. Herbert makes more than him. Trevor Lawrence makes more than him. Jordan Love makes more than him. And this idea that he has to be elite because he is a top 10 paid quarterback in the NFL, 10 being he's number 10... Like, there are other quarterbacks in this league that will drive you more insane for more money. Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, who will get the bag this offseason. All of those guys all fit the mold better than Kyler Murray does. And it's why Kyler Murray defenders post Monday Night Football won the argument of Kyler Murray has to come back next year. He really doesn't make that much money. And we have seen that with some of these mid-tier quarterbacks, you do have the ability to win more games or be better. You just have to load up the roster. Now, there's definitely a shelf life for Kyler. Once you have to pay him again, we'll have the conversation of if that's worth it. But you're still 4 years down the line from that being the case. Build up the roster. Put everything you can around him. Because that is the only way Kyler is going to win a Super Bowl. He can't carry you. But here's the thing. Neither can Herbert to this point. Neither can Jordan Love. Neither can Sam Darnold. All guys going into last night we thought were better than Kyler Murray. Or at least lately have been better than Kyler Murray. So, this idea that that's not the case is crazy. It's crazy. You know, appreciate some of you guys in the chat right now also throwing out some of these names. And Brock Purdy, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, all in that pay level as well. I'm not saying Kyler's going to carry you to a championship. But last night showed you he's the best option. My argument has always been, okay, you don't like Kyler. Who do you want? Brock Purdy, without all of his weapons, wasn't great this year. Jimmy Garoppolo's a backup. He made the Super Bowl. There is absolutely no argument anymore after Monday Night Football. Kyler Murray is the guy for this team. That might drive you insane. That might lead you to believe this team has no chance of winning a Super Bowl, and that might be the case. But the best place for the Arizona Cardinals to be next year is Kyler Murray. And Sam Darnold proved that. Jordan Love proved that. Justin Herbert proved that. And it seems like a decent amount of people are starting to agree with me, even though it's frustrating. I get it. It's frustrating because Kyler can drive you a little crazy. I get that. But it's just ultimately what the telltale sign of it is. So I thought Kyler Murray had a very good night last night.